So I went and took the test, paid the money, failed the test. All right. I failed it. That took a shot to the heart, you know what I mean? But I wasn't going to give up. I was determined.
Me and my God always conversating. He say I'm happy you called, what you been up to lately. I said the reason.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to tell you guys how I went from making $16 a week checks to over $80,000 a year. This was back in like 2013. I was going through a whole custody battle with my daughter. Up until that point, I had never actually worked a full-time job. I had like little odd jobs and stuff like that, but I had never like sustained a job like, for over a year, for more than a year. I had a daughter to support. I had to figure this all out. It was a stressful time, like you can imagine, but I wanted to be there for my daughter. I wanted to be, I didn't want to be someone who couldn't support her. So I went to Del Taco. So I remember the judge was telling me, you don't have income right now, but you're still gonna have to pay this child support. So I remember working this full week, right? And receiving my check. And I remember the manager looking at me like, here's your check, and I like gave me this kind of look, and I was like, all right. So I opened it up and it was like $16 for this whole week. Like wasn't even enough to get me there, with gas, you know what I mean? That's barely paying my gas. I remember like, man, thinking, what can I do to support my daughter, to support myself? The jobs that I knew of at the time didn't pay that much, I think like minimum wage back then was like $8 an hour. Even if I didn't graduate. So that was one of my biggest issues, that I didn't graduate school. I really slacked off, really just didn't really plan my future out at this point. And now I was forced to do it if I wanted to, be the father I wanted to be, and put myself in the position I wanted to be at, right? So I've always been close to God. I always pray, and I feel like, this prayer was being answered way before I even asked it, and it was with my cousin. So my cousin was an electrician in the trade. My dad was an electrician, and it's funny how I never even, usually when your pops is in it, you probably take up that same trade and stuff like that, but he never actually pushed me into becoming a electrician. So I kind of just did my own thing. So yeah, my cousin had joined the trade, and he had been in it for a couple years, and he's always telling me about it. Like, man, you got to get up in here, man. They making this much. You can already be, set up. So I'm like, this time I've heard him say it years ago. They was in the trade, but it just never clicked. You know what I mean? And right now, at this point in my life, I was like, I need something, and that can actually, benefit me right now. I think the most like depressing part about that was I didn't graduate. I didn't have a diploma. So, but he had told me, all you need is your GED. So I'm like, okay, cool. But now I got to go back to school. I got to learn, the stuff that I've been out of high school for, like a few years now. So I'm like forgotten all this stuff. And I'm thinking like, man, it was just like a lot that I had to do just to even get in there. He told me, yeah, once you get that GED, then you'll have to pass the test also to get in the trade. But he kept saying it was easy. It wasn't that hard, so, if I could just get this GED, I'd be on my way. So I wanted it. I was looking for an opportunity to get ahead, and this was the opportunity. So I remember buying a home study book for the GED. So I bought the GED, I studied it for a little bit. I felt like, all right, I'm ready to go and do this. I went over there to the GED, to the testing center, and I remember I took the test, and I was like, okay, I felt confident about it. I know that I could have studied more, I could have done more, but I felt confident about it. So I went and took the test, paid the money, failed the test, all right? I failed it. That took a shot to the heart, you know what I mean? But I wasn't going to give up. I was determined. All I have to do is pass this test, and, it's either that or, go through what I'm going through, and, it's not worth it. So I took the test again, failed it again, right? I'm like, man, okay. And, math has always been like my hardest subject. So I already put it in my head, like, I'm not good at math. I hope I pass this math part, Did a little bit more studying, went back to the books, you know, try to get as much as I could out of it, and just, you know, went back, took it again. Finally passed it on my third time. Felt on top of the world, right? I felt on top of the world. I was one step closer to this goal. So next thing you know, I signed up. Hey, I got this. They sent the transcripts to the apprenticeship school, and they were like, all right, scheduled me for, actually I had called them and seen like, all right, cool. What do you guys, you know, as electrician, I called to be electrician, and I was like, hey, so what do you guys have for, you know, can I do electrician? And they were like, well, it's 2-year wait. I was like, oh, nah, that's way too long. Like, I got to get into this now. And she was like, well, we have the plumbing that's open. I'm like, put me on. The plumbing was like 4 months. And I was like, yes, let me do that. So I jumped up in there. I think they called me back in like 2 months, maybe 2.5 months. So I was like, you know, psyched about it. So they set me up for the test. I'm like, here we go again. Went into my little GED book, did a little bit of studying, a little, you know, recap before I did this one. And I remember being in there, and I asked the lady, I was like, or the lady passing out the test, like, hey, what happens if you fail? And I remember her saying like, then you fail it. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what that means. It sounds like I can't take the test over. I didn't ask any more questions because of the way she said it, so I didn't really want to ask her again. I'm sitting there. I felt confident because I already passed my, you know, my GED. I already got that, so I'm already knowing that I passed the test. And I ended up passing it by 3%. Yeah, I think it was a 70 I was supposed to get, and I got like a 70, maybe a 2 or a 73. And I'm just like, hey, as long as I passed it, you know what I'm saying? So passed it, got into the program, right? Man, and let me tell you, man, this it was, I didn't know about like benefits. I didn't know about like, I never thought about, you know, my own, like having my own benefits and having my own, you know, my checks coming in every month. Like at that point in time, I just never, you know, like I wasn't really pressed on that growing up. And it's sad because in our community, a lot of us don't even know about it, you know? And that's one of the reasons why my cousin was pushing so hard for me to do it. It was like, man, this is an opportunity, you know? And yeah, and it was, right? So I get into the program, I start the apprenticeship, and before you know it, I'm already making my first checks. And they are 3 times bigger than the ones I was making at Del Taco at the time, right? So I'm like, man, this is crazy, you know? Like I said, I had never worked in a job for more than a year. It's been 10 years now. Like I just started and I just kept going. Every year, I think every half a year or something like that, your raises go up, so you get a raise. So as I was going, like, man, these raises seemed like they were just coming all the time. So I went from making 3 times more to like every year I'm going up, 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 up. You know, I was able to buy my car. I was able to buy my wife a car. You know, I was paying my child support. I was able to really sustain my life. You know, I'm feeling like I'm taking care of myself. Now I'm looking back at the people where I used to be at, and I'm just like, man, they don't even know. And then I even tell them, and they're like, nah, yeah, it sounds cool, but I don't want to have to go through all that. And I understand it because I was that person 2 years before I even got into the trade when my cousin was telling me. So I'm like, I get it, but if they only knew benefits. So medical, my kids, my wife, me, we all have benefits. And for the first 4 years, like while you're going through the trade, they find you work for the first 4 years. Like you're never without having to look for your own jobs and stuff like that. So it gives you enough time to get grounded and to really hone your craft so that when you do graduate from the school, you're ready to do it. You know what I'm saying? And you're ready to be out there on your own and making it happen. 401ks, like now you're saving up for retirement. The trade has gave me a head start into the life that I wanted. Like if I had got any other job at the time, I would have just barely been making it, This put me on a level to sustain what I already had going on and also prepare for my future and whatever I wanted. I'm gonna make actually other videos to let you guys know all the mistakes that I did make, you know, going through this trade, that I wish that I had known before I got into it, Overall, the trade has been good to me. It has put me in a position to take care of myself, to take care of my family, and to provide for my future endeavors. There's major opportunities in this. All I can say is take pride in what you do, be excellent at it, and you are going to have those doors open for you. All right, so that was my video. I hope you guys got something from that. I hope it encourages you all. I know a lot, even in our community, a lot of people don't even know about the trade. Things are expensive right now. Things have been raised up. I don't know a better way if you don't have a GED, if you didn't graduate, or if you do have a GED and you didn't graduate, this is the best place to get your head started. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right?
Me and my God always conversating. He say I'm happy you called, what you been up to lately. I said the reason I called.